My name is Pauline Mezamalingi from Kazini Biochar Group.
This is Pauline. She lives in a small town called Kadzanuni in Kenya.
Her financial situation is so precarious that she could not even afford clothing or education for her 3 young children.
Due to unpredictable rain and dependency on farming, Pauline and others in the Kadzanuni community have no income security. Pauline lives off a mere 16,500 Kenyan shillings a year, equating to £126 for her and her children. This is low by Kenyan standards, with the national average salary being 2.4 million Kenyan shillings, 150 times more than what Pauline earns.
After running a detailed needs assessment on the ground, we found that not only did farmers like Pauline have little income, but over 50% of what they earned was spent on fuel for cooking and sanitation. On top of this, logging for firewood was made illegal in 2015 to combat deforestation. However, this left the women of Kadzanuni no other choice but to walk 3 hours every other day to buy expensive charcoal.
We wanted to help the women fight fuel poverty in Kadzanuni, so we established the BioSmart initiative.
Engineering students from the University of Exeter developed and tested furnace designs made from materials that would be readily available in Kadzanuni. The focus was on creating a design with a simplistic assembly so it could be easily integrated into the community.
Due to the local industry, Kadzanuni is littered with agricultural waste from local plantations. BioSmart uses this surplus of agricultural waste along with specially designed furnaces which burn the waste in such a way to create biochar, a sustainable fuel source which provides a local alternative to charcoal and firewood and produces 50% less CO2 emissions.
Last January, we travelled to Kadzanuni to deepen our understanding of the issues on the ground and launch BioSmart with the aid of our project partner, Friends of Kadzanuni. As part of this, we ran workshops for the women, teaching them how best to use the furnaces, educating them on the health and environmental advantages of using biochar, and consolidating the processes they use to make briquettes.
In August 2019, we took our second trip to Kadzanuni. We focused on solidifying the social enterprise model with the women, structuring the business to bring them income through the selling of briquettes. During the trip, we increased the efficiency and production of biochar, undertaking more regular burns with the women, as well as running business-focused workshops. We delivered these workshops on accounting, marketing, leadership, and advertising.
With the help and support of Patrick, a community leader on the ground, we established 2 distinct groups of 7 women, developing a knowledge base for the women to sell at local markets. Led by Treasurer Pauline, the women run the Kadzanuni Biochar Group, creating more defined roles and providing a sense of ownership for the women.
Through the work we've carried out this year, we saw with an increase in quality, quantity, efficiency of production and sales, we saw a massive change in the women's lives. Not only did their household income increase by 37% in the past 5 months, they now have the money to buy the clothes and provide education for their children. This income has given them a renewed sense of security.
In December, the women took initiative by independently taking a trip to the nearby town of Matwapa to learn more from local briquette makers. Along with increasing their self-reliance, the trip has enabled them to produce more compact and uniform briquettes.
Thanks to the women's drive and determination to build the enterprise, we have seen positive improvements in sales, selling up to 160 kilograms of biochar in one day.
As well as seeing the sustainable positive impact the project has had on the women, Patrick has told us of the incredible change he has experienced himself. He embarked on his first trip outside the country, being the first ever member of his community to travel internationally. He traveled to Uganda to participate in a briquette workshop where he learned how to improve the quality of briquette production. His leadership position amongst the women and his willingness to drive the project forward has helped him to develop key business skills and pass on his knowledge through his work.
The work of BioSmart doesn't stop here. Through our success in Kadzanuni, we saw the opportunity to expand, tackling fuel poverty in other areas of Africa.
During our trip in August 2019, we created a partnership with the CR Hope Foundation, a charity based in Zanzibar, educating 60 young people aged 16 to 25. We created lesson plans to work alongside the students in developing their knowledge with a focus on the environmental impacts of fuel, the importance of climate change, and the positive environmental impacts of biochar compared to charcoal.
In order to continually improve the project, we have developed a fully fledged social enterprise model, whereby CR Hope's volunteer network brings volunteers to Kadzanuni. These international volunteers contribute $50 to the Women's Central Community Fund and help women on the ground with the production of briquettes. This provides a revenue stream for Biosmart Kenya that gives added security to the social enterprise, as well as giving it the scope to expand in the future. This community fund could also be used for wider community projects as the social enterprise grows.
This February, we ran our first volunteer program with 2 volunteers travelling to Katanuni and helping the women running the day-to-day business. This social enterprise model allows the local women to keep all of the income produced from the sale of biochar briquettes.
We asked Pauline about the impact our work has had on her and her community.
I'm happy. I'm excited about Biochar Group because it helps me, it empowers me as a woman. You know, we women here in Kenya, men don't give us much attention, but we're proud of the Biosmart project for empowering us on how to make charcoal. You know, empowering women is like helping the whole nation.
In the future, we hope to expand to other regions like Zanzibar to replicate the impacts we have had in Kenya. We would like to turn to a consultancy role in Katanuni to transition to a sustainable, self-led enterprise.
We're also upcycling waste and creating value through social entrepreneurship here in the UK.
We are in an era of climate crisis, with forest fires in Australia, rising global temperatures, and freak weather events. The recent flooding that has hit our country is a stark reminder of this. We are told that this is mostly due to the use of fossil fuels, private transportation, and electricity consumption. However, there's another key factor: food waste.
Today, an estimated 1/3 of all the food produced in the world goes to waste. It makes up a sizable 11% of total global greenhouse gas emissions. If food waste was represented as a country, it would be the 3rd largest greenhouse gas emitter behind China and the US.
Although it may seem like an inconspicuous pick-me-up, the coffee habit in the UK clocks in at 95 million cups per day, leading to the production of 500,000 tonnes of coffee waste each year in the UK alone.
When coffee or other organic matter is sent to landfill, it decomposes to release greenhouse gases. In particular, it releases methane, a gas 72 times more potent than carbon dioxide. This is already in addition to those greenhouse gases generated in the transportation process.
We saw an opportunity to upcycle coffee waste to create a positive, sustainable change for our environment. At the Urban Mushroom Company, we implement a circular business model which tackles the environmental damage resulting from food waste while creating positive change in our community.
Our business model sees coffee grounds that were once destined for landfill transformed into a primary source of nutrients to grow fresh gourmet mushrooms. We utilize innovative vertical farming techniques to get the most out of material that would otherwise be wasted.
Using zero-carbon transportation, we collect coffee grounds from local cafes and use this valuable yet discarded material to sell our produce to local businesses.
In October, we moved to a larger, more central location in the heart of Exeter. Here, we have developed our impact within the local community, expanding and strengthening our partnerships with independent businesses.
We collect our coffee grounds from 5 local coffee shops, including large chains such as Costa and Carluccio's, providing businesses with an alternative disposal method, encouraging them to take responsibility for their waste.
Although our first batch in the new location did suffer from competing mould, we took action, updating our sterilisation procedure.
On top of this, we have invested in technology to enhance automation. By streamlining our innovative growing process, we are able to more accurately simulate the seasonal growing cycle. This has allowed us to increase our efficiency, and we can now grow gourmet oyster mushrooms in just 8 weeks, rather than the year it would take in the wild.
Thanks to reducing our growing time by 84%, we can produce batches more consistently. This has enabled us to provide a regular supply ready for distribution to local businesses. It's also less labor-intensive, meaning we can continue to grow mushrooms over the holidays, upcycling even more coffee grounds.
After growing the mushrooms, we aim to sell them to local businesses. In particular, we've had strong interest from independent high-end restaurants who are keen to purchase our produce due to the premium quality, hyperlocal nature of the products.
Through building these relationships, we hope to encourage others in our community to promote positive change that directly benefits our planet.
To ensure that we produce minimal waste, we dry any surplus product, prolonging the mushroom shelf life. We've made connections with the retailers to allow us to sell our produce directly to consumers online. This, in combination with social media, allows us to drive business to consumer relationships.
What about the used coffee grounds?
Once the coffee grounds have been used as a base to grow mushrooms, they are given to a local community centre for compost. Due to coffee grounds' acidic nature, they are usually unsuitable for composting. However, our growing process increases their pH and makes them into a much more suitable fertiliser, meaning more food can be grown and sold back to the local community, providing another positive and sustainable environmental impact.
To maintain our growing process over the summer, we collaborated with the University of Exeter to hire a summer intern managing the business day to day. Our intern also worked to develop our brand recognition by designing an updated logo and packaging and developing a social media presence.
This proved to be a brilliant opportunity for the team member and intern to improve her business leadership skills.
Over the last year, we have upcycled over 127 kilograms of coffee grounds, a 70% increase in production since last year. This equates to 1,400 kilograms of CO2 emissions, or in other words, one flight to Los Angeles, driving from Shanghai to Kiev, or heating the average UK household for 3 months.
We have now made our first sale as a business, having grown 10 kilograms of fresh mushrooms in our pilot batch and sold 3.5 kilograms of dry produce.
In the future, we plan to explore a wider range of products, developing grow cups, diversifying to alternative strains and mushrooms, as well as upscaling and expanding our current operations to develop a continuous growth cycle. We will focus on our social initiatives and hope to reach a break-even point in the next 14 months to create a sustainable social and environmental enterprise.
Thanks to our dedicated members, we are having a positive social, environmental and economic impact through our 9 projects, both in Exeter and abroad, further helping people like Pauline to become empowered to develop into socially minded leaders who can, in turn, spread the Enactus values.
We are Enactus Exeter, and thank you for your time.